Are you scared of your emotions? I'm Ann Margaret with Raise the Vibration with your weekly tip for how to increase the peace and happiness in your life. And a big to do with that is how we relate to our emotional bodies. So I recently came by a quote that I think is really quite appropriate for what the reason why we get trapped in this state of not being free with our emotions. It is a very juvenile way of relating to our emotions or our relationships. And that quote is this: sometimes we put up walls not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to knock them down. Oof. Sometimes we put up walls not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough. We use our walls, we use our emotions, we use this silence, this silent treatment that we can use too, to keep people out and see who is worthy enough to come in. But the only person that hurts is us. So I prefer the quote by Rumi, which says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself you have built against it." So rather than building these walls to see who's worthy or who cares enough about us to break them down, we must be responsible in our own lives to be able to dissolve those walls within us to allow the abundance of love in. So I said that today was going to be part 2 of last week. If you didn't see last week, that's okay, but I would recommend you go back and you watch Are You Addicted to Getting Better? We tend to use our self-development as this sort of better butter, for lack of a better visual, to kind of spread over this churning volcano underneath to try and get better and get better and get better and get better, so that we don't have to feel anymore, so that we don't have to be disappointed anymore, so that we don't have to feel pain anymore. But guys, it is just a part of life. Pain is a part of life. Disappointment, grief, anger, all of these emotions that we don't necessarily want in our lives are going to be there whether we acknowledge them or not. Whether we have all the money in the world. I have coached and trained A-list celebrities, billionaires. I have coached people who have barely 2 dimes, do they say 2 pennies to rub together? Because I believe that everybody is entitled to self-development. And I have to say, across the board, the reason is not because you don't have enough money. It's not because you don't have a partner. It's not because fill in the blank, whatever your excuse is of why you're not happy. The reason is that you have not taken accountability and understood the secret of how to navigate this human journey, especially the inner human journey. We have so many coaches out there that teach us how to grow our business really quickly. And I love these. I actually listen to one every single day, a little tip every day on how to improve my business. But that's more of an external measure of our own success, money, fame, power, how prestige, how much people recognize us as powerful leaders in the community. But what's more important than anything is how we are inside. Okay, it can all mean nothing. We've seen so many people who we thought had it all end up ending their own lives, even because they just don't have this navigation tool. So I referenced in my advertisement for today's talk the song Let It Go. All right, everybody knows this song, almost everybody knows this song from the movie Frozen, and I've included some references in the links for today's talk, all about emotional health. Okay, so this song, last week I also talked about the emotions being like the waves of the ocean, and there's a great quote by Jonathan Martinson, and it goes like this: "Feelings are much like waves. We can't stop them from coming, but we can choose which ones to surf." Okay, so go back and watch last week's talk all about surfing the waves of emotion and how scary they can be. But the important thing about why I integrated this song, Let It Go, that we all connect to, is that I feel that we're not truly getting the message of what this is saying. I was looking up, doing a little research about what people were saying about the song and the meaning of the song, and there are even some people saying that it's a really irresponsible song. She wants to forget the past and no rules and no right wrong. We're missing the point, guys. The point of, and yes, okay, maybe I would tweak the lyrics just a little bit so that we're not sending the wrong message to our kids. But the importance of this song of Let It Go is that we must have the freedom of our emotions. We must have freedom to embrace our own unique gifts, our own unique superpowers. When we don't express our emotions in a responsible and intelligent way, they get trapped and we stifle them, and they are like the cork on that steaming bottle that over time has got to erupt or it's going to implode. This is what causes stress, disease in our body. This is what causes so much imbalance in our lives, in our relationships, in our self-expression, and our own soul's purpose and what we're doing for a living, how we're making our mark on the world. Okay, so back to the song. The story, if you don't know the story, I've included a link to it, as well as a link to my favorite emotional aromatherapy essential oil kit. You can take these oils, these roll-ons, and roll them throughout your day, whether you need to get motivated, whether you need to forgive somebody, whether you need to grieve, whether you need more happiness. I highly, highly recommend it. It's the best $100 you'll ever spend on yourself. Okay, that's in the link as well. But what I want to say is that today, when you're experiencing your emotion, instead of bottling up, notice it. Notice that wave of emotion. Notice that wave that you're feeling in your body. Your body will tell you, right? Whether your jaw starts to clench, or whether your pit of your stomach starts to really grip and churn, whether you have a headache and you don't know why, and you're like, what's going on with my body? Why am I feeling this way? There might be an unexpressed emotion underneath that needs to be released, okay? So back to Elsa from Frozen, since we're talking about Elsa today. So she had a superpower that she didn't know how to channel, and she ended up hurting somebody she loved dearly. In your life, you have a power within you that maybe you were told, maybe it is anger, maybe it's an emotional power, that sense of rage or that strength that's within us. And I don't think rage or anger is wrong. I think it's a true gift if it's channeled in the right way. Think about the people who have truly made a huge mark on the world. They were angry about something. You might be angry about something. There might be an injustice in your life or your job, but the goal is not to go in and blow everything up. That's what we do. Or like I referenced at the beginning of this talk, we'll put walls up to see if people are worthy enough of our time or our energy, of our love or our trust, instead of taking ownership for what we can do in the matter. So at a very early age, she ended up hurting her sister, and she didn't mean to, right at the beginning of the story of the movie Frozen. And then she hides those powers, and she keeps them under wraps, even though we see quite beautifully in the movie, in the song, what she can do with those powers and the beautiful winter that she can bring, although she ends up doing it in an angry way. And at the end of this movie, we see that not only has she embraced her power, and she's embraced the anger that she experiences from keeping this hidden so long. And I know a lot of you relate to that in your own personal way of having to keep something hidden because you're afraid of what others are going to think or how it's going to hurt others. But what needs to happen instead of hiding it is for you to learn how to use it responsibly, is for you to own it so that you can heal it, so that you can own it and integrate it into your own unique gift in the world. I don't believe that God makes any mistakes. Thank you, Lady Gaga. I thought that was beautifully said in her song, Born This Way. God makes no mistakes. Who are you? It's not who am I in a toddler tantrum way. I'm not saying go out there, yell at your boss, yell at your partner, yell at your kids, and unleash this venom you've been keeping hidden and suppressed. What I'm saying is, number one, recognize it's there. Make sure that you feel your feelings and you acknowledge them. And maybe you need to take a boxing class. A couple years ago, a dear friend of mine, you know who you are, was going through a really difficult time, and I sent her some boxing gloves because there's nothing like getting your anger out than through physical activity and really getting that release in a healthy and responsible way. So, what in your life are you not expressing? Sometimes people have some deep conditions in their body. And I would say, even though it's going to be controversial, that even something like fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression stems from this rejection of our emotional body. That we have things going on. Maybe we haven't grieved a parent's death, or maybe we haven't grieved a relationship that has ended, or grieved that our parent wasn't who we wanted them to be, or grieved that we lost a job, or we didn't realize a dream that we had. And until we properly grieve that, it will build and build and build in the body and express itself in ways that are really undesirable, that come up like diseases in our lives. So it's so critical. And you know what the greatest news is that it's never too late. It's never too late, but start now. If you're feeling emotion in your body and maybe you don't even feel it, you've blinded yourself or you've numbed yourself for too long or distracted yourself from it, that maybe today you just sit and you close your eyes and you check and you do a body scan from head to toe, and not just a physical body scan, but an emotional body scan. What is living underneath it all? And we know, those of you who have been courageous enough to give yourself a good cry, men and women, this is not just for women, but allowed yourself to really truly feel your emotions. Every single time you do, if you're held in the space of love by yourself or by your partner or by a friend or a parent or someone, that you're able to release every single time you feel a weight lifted, you feel better. So perhaps today, do a body scan, not only your physical body, your mental, your emotional bodies, and see what you can allow to come to the surface. Another great movie to watch that I've also referenced in the notes is Inside Out. Oh, I love that movie. It just gives kids, and I've also referenced a book called Emotion in the Ocean, a book to help children understand and express their emotions. So check out the notes today. They're full of great references for you to take this further. But it's just so important that you allow yourself an emotional intelligence, a relationship to your emotional body that helps you and that helps you become more accessible to those in your life, and also for yourself to access your power. I promise you guys, if you are suppressing your emotional bodies, there is a part of you that is untapped that you need to get in there to fully realize your potential. Okay. I also offer coaching one-on-one with a sliding scale. The notes are also in to how to email me about that. Okay. Let's pull our cards today. First one is the archetype. Oh, this is a good one. The Exorcist, freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. We're talking about this. So don't wait for your emotions to implode in disease-ridden bodies. Don't wait for it to explode onto somebody else, because whatever we're upset about in this moment, haven't you noticed this? We're not upset about just that. It links to the root. It links to something that we haven't resolved within ourselves for quite some time. So Exorcist, the shadow attribute, fear of facing your own demons. Fear of facing your own demons. These demons are not scary in the shadow, ready to jump out at you. Go in there yourself. Have the courage to go into those shadows and exercise. Bring them up to the surface so that you no longer have to be afraid. Some of us are so afraid what we're going to find, but I promise you guys, it is so worth the work. Stop hiding. Stop suppressing and do the work. If you don't know how to do it, reach out to me and I'll work with you one-on-one, okay? All right, the goddess for today. Oof, easy does it. That's a great complimentary card, right? Easy does it, Una. There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. What a great message, you guys. It takes time to process. Love you all. Until our talk next week, keep raising the vibration. Bye, everybody.